right, hey, we got an awesome show, the Founders Lounge. Kyla Dodson right here in the house. Let's go. Okay. Sit on.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and rock and roll.
Thank God.
3, 2, 1.
Do one more.
All right, let's do this. Are we ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, I'm rolling here.
Okay, let's
rolling?
go.
Yeah,
Okay.
this be your cam, and then we'll have it switching around after that.
There
Did you
we
get it?
go.
Kyla, we got it.
We got
Okay.
it. All right.
Put this aside.
Kyla,
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming to the Founders Lounge. We have a very special guest here. This is the gal I told you about. We're not just talking about anybody. This is Kyla Dodson, not her first rodeo. Every time I think about her. Anyway, so what we're gonna do first is we're gonna introduce ourselves, tell what we do, and I'll just get started, and you'll catch on.
Okay.
So my name is Alex Palma. I am the founder of YOLO Nerd. We build custom CRMs, automation for businesses, and now we're actually building awesome websites for clients. Go for it, Brent.
Yeah, Brent Tinsley, welcome out to the Founders Lounge podcast here. I'm a professional headshot photographer, so we do a lot of branding, photography, things like that. I'm excited to hear more about your story.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm Kyla Dodson, and today I'm here representing Let's Talk Land, which is an idea that really has been formulated throughout my lifetime, and a business that I've been cultivating for about 6 years now. So in probably 2 to 3 more years, we're going to be a 10-year overnight success. We're right on the cusp. So I'm glad to share the background behind it today and share the journey with you.
That's a lot of people always see the success in the back end. They don't see all the years of work that go in the front end.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, there's nothing more in Texas than land. Everyone wants land. They want tax havens, things like that. How do you end up getting in this kind of an industry?
Well, I was born into it, actually, in the cattle ranching business. And I grew up in the backseat of a pickup between 9 ranches and a bunch of feedlots. And my dad was actually the head of the Ag Eco department at West Texas State then in the Panhandle, so in the heart of the cattle country and the cattle feeding country. And we had ranches all over the state. And so we were taught to go down the road and look at what's different about this land here through different regions and what's the highest and best use of that, and what kind of trees and what kind of grass and what kind of rainfall do they have here. And my parents have been ranch brokers my whole life. So that's just the set of lenses and conversations that I've had my entire life.
Okay, wow. Yeah. From the pickup truck all the way through.
Born and raised Texas.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, what's the problem with land right now? What made you say that the system is broken?
Well, the main thing is they're not making any more of it, right?
Yeah.
And so we keep having more and more demand as our population increases. And certainly we've had such an incredible Western heritage movement between, it couldn't have been any better than, Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone series and now the next series that have followed behind that, and COVID on top of that to just make people want to live in the country. So it continues to sprawl our city's edges out into new, what were legacy ranches are now becoming subdivisions full of houses. So especially our agriculture and our food production now is getting squished into a smaller footprint. And that's the main thing is they're just not making any more of it, and everybody wants a piece.
There you go. Let's go back. Let's go to the story how we met. So we met through an awesome client, Next Gen Media. Gus is over there on the studio. Say what's up.
Whoop, whoop.
We had an awesome dinner, and then from there we just had an awesome relationship. And then now we're here, and I knew I had to do my best to try to get you on the show.
Well, thanks for sharing. It truly has been a divine appointment, and it's amazing how God lays that forward in our life. And when Gus and I met, he did a fantastic job at an event where I was participating as a sponsor and speaker. And then when I reached out to him to cover me at the next event, he did a fantastic job there, which led to y'all. And what you don't know, again, is in the background that I've been looking for the right partners that would understand what I'm trying to accomplish. And you can do what you do, which is not what I do. So I need you to take all my crazy ideas and go, okay, I think I can put those in there. And I've been amazed at how well you've listened and truly understood very quickly what I wanted to accomplish, and in what you've built for me so far has been.
We haven't even launched yet. We're getting ready to get. No, it's so cool.
Just the teasers of what I've seen, just the teasers, like you're spot on. And so thank you. It's been really special.
That's awesome.
Well, so let's business going out. You grew up in brokering. This is more for ranch land, or it's also farmland, oil. I mean, or like, what's the whole direction people go when they're going to speak with you? Like, what's an ideal client for you, or what's?
Well, great question, Brent. So really, our ideal client is a landowner today or someone that wants to invest in land, because we do still have some first-gen people that are, they've always dreamed of it. They've just finally gotten enough money. Now they're ready to go buy land. The first 3 rules of any piece of real estate is location, and location,
Okay.
right? So those are the first 3 rules. And we continue to have more and more lenses to where when we evaluate a piece of land. So of course we've got the surface level, we've got the airspace above it, and we've got all the way to the center of the earth. So the oil and gas plays, specifically in Texas, have been historically a huge part of our economy. I mean, billions and billions in Texas, and then all over the U.S. Certainly with this administration that we currently have right now, and the situation and the demand for the oil and gas and energy sector is different and more, it's focused towards our domestic drilling. So prices are higher. There's a break even. It's a lot of details on when it becomes the cost of operating now is getting too high to actually be profitable in your drilling sector. But that's not anything new. But the value now is unlocked the next tier of the plays that weren't tapped before. And the technology continues to get better. So we can go back into older fields and maybe even extract more. So it's just amazing that the demand continues to grow, and the dollars will fund the ingenuity of how to find the next pocket of oil and gas.
And surprisingly, I mean, there's a lot of land here in Texas that's still available, which is quite crazy. But Texas is a big state.
Yes.
So this kind of ties in my next question. So what separates a smart buyer versus a smart land buyer versus an emotional buyer?
Well, we're all spiritual beings, so we're all driven by, personality-wise, are we just calculating what we think the market value is, or truly buying what we want, or where we can see a vision? And I'll say either one may be right. And the only time that a transaction happens is when a buyer and seller agree, not only on price, but to the terms that are there too. So there are some times that, the seller actually just needs cash, but wants to continue operating the land or having a function of that, and there's cash that's available to fund that, and there's an actual transition of where we live and what we do that happens later on, right? And that can still be a smart play for both people. There are some that want to actually move and live and work the land there. I spend a lot of my time focused on the agricultural production sector, and then transactionally on the investor side. But what is really important is that the tax code was actually written not to make us pay more taxes, but to truly incentivize behaviors and to allow tax deductions for certain behaviors. So there are tax deductions that will that are focused on particularly the agricultural sector and how you are a steward of the land, that will allow you to make smarter investments. So lots of details there when we get into evaluating a particular project. But then there's so many different ways to use property now too. The easy one is, as we have residential and population growth, right? We just take it out of just raw land sitting there, and now we go plat and put up houses and then strip malls and multifamily, and we do the normal development stuff as a population grows into a certain area. The more challenging thing then is, particularly when we start, now we need more streets.
Yeah.
Now we need more concrete. Now we're building industrial, tilt wall in sectors that we haven't been in the DFW area, especially how that has grown so much. So we need sand and gravel. We need limestone. So now we're going under the surface. So the location now is driven by what's under the dirt, right? And what we can do with the value of just sand, gravel, limestone under the dirt, not even getting all the way down then to the next layer that would be water. And then we get into our oil and gas. So we have layers of things that are valuable from the dirt all the way to the core.
Wow. Okay.
So if you're not going into just like land development, chopping up a community and getting civil put in, on the mineral rights, looking at that, if you're going to go get, I don't know, 500 acres or thousands of acres, those are things you're looking at, everything from even the sediment, sand, limestone, all the way down to aquifer access or things.
Yes, and that's becoming less and less available as our country progresses because it's challenging to find still some legacy property that hasn't changed hands enough that still owns the minerals, or even some other rights too, right? The water rights. If you're in an underground water district, there's a lot of details to this, but there are a lot of areas that some of those rights have already been regulated or may have been sold to another entity or rolled out. Most of your land investors are going to separate, if there is any mineral value still attached to that, it's a separate estate, so they can separate the mineral estate from the surface estate and develop the top, but keep any development for what's underneath later. It gets complicated there, but what's really forward thinking here is we're going to have so much of our land. There is almost 3/4 of our land just in Texas is owned by owners that are now 75 years old or older.
I want to tie that to my next question. I'm going to go off script a little bit here. I have a grandpa who's a stubborn old cowboy.
Yeah.
He's a rancher.
Know some of those guys.
Who still uses a flip phone. I'm surprised he still has it. The amount of work he does. He's a rancher. He just grew his whole life just raising cattle, the whole cheese. For a rancher that just only wants to focus on just ranching, who doesn't know what the value of his land is, what can Let's Talk Land come in and consult and help him?
Okay, now you hit my sweet spot.
Yeah, there you go.
This is truly the client that I would like to connect with.
Okay.
They don't want to talk about transition. They don't want to talk about death. That you're either they don't come home on their horse, they don't come home in the pickup, or you find them in the tractor somewhere. And they don't talk, right? This generation, which is at least 1 out of 3 statistically, as we know, across the United States of our ag operating families. Mm-hmm. And they don't talk. So that was the premise behind Let's Talk Land. We have to have a conversation, but you have to care about people first. Mm-hmm. So I've got a bunch of tools in my toolkit, from tax optimization now to transition strategies to how do we do that for the next generation. But what matters most is, what does your grandfather want to accomplish?
He may not even know. That's all
He may not
He
know.
might not even know.
And
that's a great
truly,
question.
some of them really don't want to talk about it. So if we can care about someone enough to where they'll crack open a little bit, and we have a couple of things that some of us in the industry have determined and try to tell families, because we've got families in their 50s and 60s that have never made a decision. They're waiting on dad to let them make a decision. They've never ordered feed. They've never bought their own truck, and they don't own anything.
So it's just like this just transition,
right?
Of...
They've just lived on the land and either farmed or ranched or done what you do, but they really don't have any value that they've created. They don't have title to much, and they don't know how to make the decisions. So at some point we have to go, do you want this operation to keep going?
Yeah.
Do you want your grandkids to keep doing this? It's important that we have a transition plan.
And most don't.
And it's not that you owe your children a job or a future, and it's not that they owe you to sit here and wait either. So let's be open about what we're trying to accomplish. And so a lot of times, really, I'm just kind of a mediator. Mm-hmm. And I can listen to one side, I can listen to the other, and then we propose, well, does this accomplish that? And it's not in the legal jargon. We'll go figure out the legal jargon. It's really, what do you want to do?
Just get down to the most simple fact, and don't get stuck in probate and let it sit there for years and
make your kids fight and break up the family. And if they're, who said, well, he said this to me and he said that to me.
You got this family, like, I want to sell it and I want a piece of the land and I want to build my house on this land and I want to sell a chunk of this land. And yeah, you get it.
And so if you want to give them all the decisions, do you want to treat them all equally? How many children do you have? How many grandchildren? Do you want to give things to your children, or do you want it to just skip a generation and go to your grandchildren? And we can find the legal vehicle to accomplish what it is that they want to accomplish, but we can't overcomplicate it, or they shut down. right?
Ooh.
If you get too much into trust and structuring things, they're like, whoa, 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 hold on.
Yes, yes. And there are ways that you may want to allow, if you want to avoid capital gains altogether,
Yeah.
and you never have a step up in basis and it's a perpetual trust, there's things to do there. And then there are reasons why you would want your next generation to have a step up in basis, right? And that's again based on today's capital gains tax codes. So there are lots of things that we have to do on the back side of this, and that's why I've built this network of strategic partners that are very sharp in all those different details of the industry. But what my job is, and the frontline team, is just to care, to know which next question to ask, and to listen long enough to try to hear what somebody really wants to accomplish. And then we'll go do the work.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
figure
yeah.
everything else out.
Right.
Well, like just the other day, I was watching this fight on Netflix. Ronda Rousey showing some behind the scenes. She's like at a farm and she's dealing with ducks.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of people that you would never even think of that want to live on land, grow their own food, have their own animals, things like that. Do you see a big influx of people who've moved to Texas or younger families that want land? Because I hear that quite a bit here. People want to go and move out. But then you start getting to location. How far are you away from amenities, like just
Right.
electricity, water? I mean, I don't think a lot of people think about this stuff, or just your nearest grocery store. Like,
No.
where's that sweet spot for location for a new buyer coming into Texas and wanting, say, like a minimum of 20 acres or something? Or
Yeah. So same thing, right? It depends. It depends on, so many of them now are a totally virtual workforce and dispersed out of the office. Nobody goes to the office anymore. A lot of companies, we have a hybrid, or we have entrepreneurs that run their own business. And I think, our next generation is going to be the first one that makes more money on their phone in about 2 hours a day than the rest of us that show up for something for 8, 10, 12 hours a day and work at it. There's no telling what they're going to do and how compact amount of time we can get information and actually make things happen. But we have to, again, ask the questions. How far out do you need to live? And seriously, one of the clients that just is moving to Texas they own property in several different states, but we needed to have a 20 minutes or within the delivery area of a Sprouts.
Oh boy.
That was okay.
Don't
now I have a
Don't
Target.
go to Weatherford.
And but Weatherford's getting a new
They're
Sprouts.
getting a Sprouts.
Yes,
Okay.
it's under construction right now. And
no
that
way.
happened to be like, okay, well, does it have to currently be built, or can we have it in service in 6 months? So that's been fun to just say, what's more important? Some of them are still going to schools, right? If they've got children and they're not going to homeschool, then it's what's the proximity to school, or what school district are we in? Many of them are, what are the people around me going to be like? And this is a funny conversation all the time, too, is I do not want to be in an HOA. I do not want people telling me what I'm going to do with my land.
Well, welcome to Texas.
Okay, great. No problem. So we'll find you something, and they find something out of town, and they've got however many, 40, 100, 1,000 acres, doesn't matter. And somebody puts a trailer park in next door, or an RV park, or they put up
A KOA.
a KOA or chicken houses, or but I don't want that next door. Well, that's
Welcome to Texas.
you have no restrictions, they have no restrictions, right? So those are all things of, you got to know who your neighbors are and at least have enough space that you're buffered. Or there are a lot of these rural subdivisions which are really driven towards that kind of life you were talking about, on the 10 to 20 acres. But the property owners association might set the rules and the expectations so that you could have people with sort of like vision or like uses of the property, with some minimum square footage or minimum amount of animals you can have on your property. So there are ways that those property owners associations or homeowners associations can actually protect the value and let you know what's going to be built right next door to your fence line.
Well, then also you don't have to worry about your neighbor chopping it up and having a bunch of homes with no setback just popping up, and
Right. So there's some value to that
or a
too.
bunch of mini Airbnb homes or who knows what. So
You just never know.
Or trailer park.
hey, man,
never
I used
know.
to own trailer parks. So
Hey,
it's-
there you go. I'm going to go back to my grandfather, who's a 90-year-old rancher.
Yes.
Looks like he's 70 years old. I'm trying to get this.
My ideal client that I want to serve.
Yeah.
I want to listen to him.
So, I'm trying to get him to stop driving the Chevy truck. But anyways, although my grandpa's going to live forever, this goes to the family that, let's just say, grandpa, God calls him home. and family inherits the property. What should they? What should they do? What would be the first step? I guess.
Well, if nothing is done prior, then I'd say one, call me and let's see where we are. We need to know how title was vested, who the heirs are. Is there going to be a step up in basis? Was there any will? Is there any directive at all? If we have laws in Texas and in every state for if you're intestate and pass without a will that gives directive to that.
Yeah, my grandpa, he's an old rancher. He doesn't have a will.
Yeah. So there are rules in place that the state of Texas can determine where that goes, or whatever state that you're in.
Wow.
So that's the other decision that usually we can have that discussion of, I'm not going to do anything. I'll just let them figure it out. Okay. So you're going to let the state
Step in and
decide
Step in and figure that out for you.
who's going to inherit what you've been working on. A lot of times that will open it. Well, I'm not letting the state tell me what I can do. That. Okay, we found a pain point, and now let's talk. So hopefully that can open them up a little bit too. But it is so important that we listen. And I'll tell you a personal story. My parents were the generation that went to college and had professional degrees and went to town. Maybe not to a big city, but they went to town. They had jobs in town that were not just working the land every day. Their parents worked the land every day. Generations back worked the lands every day. But my parents and aunts and uncles were the first generation that had jobs other than just working the land, right? And when my grandparents passed, both on my mother's side and on my father's side, one, estate taxes were an issue. Two, nobody wanted to move back to the rural area and actually either tend to it or
Was this like second generation? Second generation.
some of it was third, yeah.
Third generation.
And or pay somebody else to take care of it. And so it came a time that, well, we don't want to raise our kids in those communities and we don't want to go back. And it's a luxury we can't really afford, whether it be operationally or taxes or whatever that might, or even time. And so my parents, even though I grew up ranching, my parents sold when my grandparents passed. So although we had the experience and the work ethic of being raised ranching, now our kids saw just a glimpse of that. So we were able to kind of stay in the game for a little longer and raise our kids a little longer. But when my father-in-law passed, the same thing happened. Nobody wanted to live
Out
in the small town where the
ranch.
ranch is anymore.
Wake up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, do the work. And it was a luxury that we couldn't afford at the time.
Right.
So although all of us still wish we had all the ranches we ever had and the neighboring places, and they were all a fraction of what the original footprint was, right? So we might have had 1,000 acres left out of what was 35,000 acres 2 generations back. So they were all still fractional through those generations. And now we're to a point that John and I now have 15 acres, and that's our little ranchette.
Wow.
And that's what we own, and we still get up and feed horses and do the deal and try to still instill some work ethic. But I want other families to be able to plan differently. And if there's not somebody coming back in your family and you want to continue the legacy of that ranch still in operation, then let's find and appoint that, because it could be a neighbor, it could be somebody else in the industry, it could be another connection that we have. And there's capital looking to invest, especially in the agricultural sector, to keep feeding the world.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of recreational ranches too. A lot of people just want to now, maybe they had that, maybe they didn't. Now they've got enough money to buy a place. Usually it's within 2 hours of where they live so that they can get there more often and raise their kids and take them hunting and fishing and, spotlighting at night and all the fun things that you get to do when you grow up on a ranch. Snipe hunting, got to do that for sure, for sure. So there's many factors again, but I think it comes down to what do people need to accomplish and what was their, and depending on how spiritual they really are, but what's their calling and what's their responsibility on to what God gave them, because we're just stewards of it for the time that we're here. And what are we supposed to do as we go to the next chapter?
You see, let's get on like ag exemptions a little bit. I don't know the proper terms, but for like tax exemptions or things, you see these pieces of land where people are holding out in Westlake, South Lake with the cows out there. It's in the middle of these huge developments or up
Like
in
the one
Plano.
right here in Grapevine.
Yeah, you see it in a few
Some
spots.
Longhorns over there.
Yeah, right next to Grapevine,
Yes.
the Gaylord there.
Gaylord
there's
Hotel.
there's land. I mean, right here, there's
Right.
land. You see the cows. Like, are these people that are able to still grandfather in those exemptions where they're not getting taxed like crazy? Because I mean, or like, how does that work for people? Just a layman's term. Someone's like, oh, I want to get some land. How many cows do I need on there? Or how do I even get approved for that? Like,
Right. So layman's terms, good, just easy to go here. It's county by county on property tax valuations. So specifically in Texas, we don't have a state income tax. We do ad valorem or property taxes. And there is an ag valuation. It's really not an exemption. It's an ag valuation discount.
Okay.
Where you'll pay a very small percentage of what the market value is of that land if it is in agricultural use. And every county has their own rules on how they even prove that up. I mean, there's ways to do it with wildlife, to do the same. You can have a wildlife exemption or valuation too, if you kind of check the boxes on that. It could be X amount of cows. And some counties will even let you have horses. Some will
So
do
if you
goats.
have so many horses, so many
Yep.
goats,
It could be bees.
feigning goats. I saw something recently, bees, beehives.
Yes. So, and then there's parameters on
Oh, it's
how
just
many
like,
you
I
have
wouldn't
to
know all
have.
this like the little tax, little write-offs that you can get
Yes.
through just for having bees.
But there's still a minimum amount of land also.
Yeah.
It's got to
There-
be enough land.
Yes. And
Can't be
again,
just your normal house
Yeah.
where you get a bunch of beehives. You have to have like,
right, county specific. Most of them are at least 5-6 acres. Some of them are 10-acre minimums. There are some state laws that are 20-acre minimums. So there's different ones in different counties, but that's certainly a significant impact just on your annual ad valorem taxes. Another thing that we've talked a little bit about, though, and land that is specifically in ag production, whether it's row crop or livestock, is the legacy nutrient deductions. And so those are truly tax deductions that are depreciating an excess fertility level in the soil. So a lot of people will buy land too that has improvements or will put more improvements on them as depreciation for tax deductions. And whether it's buildings, so we're used to appraising, buildings and irrigation pivots and fences and all the things, all the equipment. We're used to doing that, and we have appraisals for that. But when they go, let's see, I don't know what the value of this soil is.
Yeah.
So one of the companies that we work with, Boa Safra, has mastered that process of doing the appraisal for the excess nutrients in the soil. And that's a very
So
little...
like a soil evaluation. Mm-hmm. You
like
dig a
topsoil for farming
or for bottom as well.
Nope, it's actually the topsoil.
Really?
I mean, just to keep it simple. Yeah.
I married an Iowa, and so I mean, obviously the soil is a lot different. It's like
Right.
more like a rich, like dark in Iowa.
Clay,
It's
yeah.
pretty crazy over there. Let me ask you this question. So for landowners, how do you help them think long term instead of a quick sale?
Very good. Again, what are we trying to accomplish, right? And even those that intend to hold long term, things change. I have a friend that's doing kind of some portfolio evaluation, let's say. They own several different properties, and there are some that they want to keep, whether they are more valuable to them or they're in the proximity to each other or whatever that situation might be, and some that they intend to sell. So we have a different strategy for what you intend to keep and some that you intend to sell. A lot of that, again, is driven by what the IRS tax code allows. What's the cost of the transaction? What are my consequences, so to speak? We use another little tool on the tax deferred 1031 exchanges, right? So we can invest in a like kind property. Some people don't want to manage another piece of property. They don't want to sell a ranch and buy another ranch or
Yeah.
put it into a
Some people just want to hold it.
rental. But so we have some passive portfolio investments like Delaware Statutory Trust. And again, another not well-known industry standard of an alternative investment that does qualify for a tax-deferred 1031 exchange.
Okay.
But it puts it into a passive portfolio of commercial income-producing real estate. So it'll produce some mailbox money. This is a great transition plan for somebody like your grandfather, right? So that he doesn't have to wait, and he may need money for health care and some other things. So we don't have to wait till he dies to sell the ranch. We really don't. But we can offer something that if he does sell, let's say the neighbor wants to, or even the kids want to buy it from him, then we can take he doesn't want another ranch or a property to manage. We can put the proceeds, take some out for a homestead, but put the proceeds into this Delaware statutory trust that will also get a step up in basis upon passing to the next generation based on how that portfolio is structured. So there's a lot of ways that we just kind of go, let's say, okay, what other tool do we have? And what's amazing is we learn more all the time. And the more that you talk to people and share ideas, the more you find other little niche tax codes that can help make a better decision and a better valuation that will then determine your decisions. When we go, okay, well, if the most important thing is I don't want to pay any taxes, all right, these are our options here. And I want to protect my family. Who all in your family? How are we going to do that? And we just go down the list and then come up with it's like making a recipe, right?
I'm gonna dumb it. I want to dumb it down a little bit for anybody that doesn't know. What is a 1031 exchange?
So the 1031 exchange is really the IRS tax code of Section 1031. It's a tax-deferred exchange that takes the sale of a relinquished property and puts it into a replacement property, but you carry forward the basis of what you paid in the first property.
Okay.
Okay? To the extent that you adjusted those dollars, if you added any more, then it's...
You can also do with land, also with property as well,
Yes.
and like houses and stuff like that as well. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
So that is my street level interpretation.
For those that don't know what it
of
is.
course, consult your licensed tax advisor for the actual real application there. But that's a pretty common practice, and there's a lot of ways to do that too.
Got it.
All right.
Well, hey, I got another one for you.
Okay.
Let's talk about. I'm going to ask it anyway. Part of the Founders Lounge is we're going to ask. You don't have to tell us who, but what would you say was one of the biggest profitable deals you've done in the land industry?
So we have, again, new highest and best use, and right now the energy sector that is blowing up all over Texas
Oh,
and
what's
the
that?
U.S. is the data center projects.
Really?
Right? And I mean we've been able to do add-ons for people, whether it be wind or solar, and there are people that are very against that. I'm very for that as well. Consequences, right? There are pros and cons to that. But the data center plays, especially in Texas, have now created new dollars that we haven't seen before. And especially now in the rural areas. And we've got landowners that are receiving, either LOIs or contracts or something.
Really?
And they are substantially more than they ever thought they would get for some dry land in West Texas. And they don't know how to value whether or not that's the best offer.
This is why I can't buy memory.
Oh.
I can't
Right.
buy a hard drive or SSD anymore.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the data centers, energy consumption, all this. I mean, Texas is a huge hotspot for that.
Yes.
Even down near College Station, that area down there, where you've got SpaceX. There's also areas where for manufacturing, especially rockets, as they need bigger sizes, they're limited by highways. Now they're just going to start building them on site so they can make them bigger. So they're not limited with truck, moving them around.
Yep.
I don't know. Texas is such a hotbed of so much development here.
It
It's
is.
pretty wild.
yeah, new ports coming. We've got the biggest thing we have then is transmission, right? From not only the oil and gas production, more and more pipelines going through. We've got more wind and solar. We got more transmission there, and we've got these the new super highways of the 765 kilovolt. Big, massive towers that are affecting our landowners as well. And so we have a team of attorneys that can help those landowners maybe not fight the actual route, but at least to maximize damages and to any environmental impact or loss of use that they're going to have from those big superhighway.
So if someone's being impacted by that, should they reach out to you?
Absolutely. I think if you've got a question about land, your land, what the situation is, what's going on, and as far as value goes or impact or anything, just reach out. And my job again is to be that single touch point and then go, okay, this is who we need to suit up on the team. Here's who I suggest. Let's get so and so and so and so. I'll bring them to date. What I really try to do is maximize people's time so they don't have to retell the story again and again and again, especially when we go to the next level of professionals, then we're charged by time, right? And so if I can get to know you and your story well, then I can suit up a team and I can tell your story and what we're trying to accomplish, and then come back with a consolidated plan so that you don't have to go to 2 or 3 or 4 individuals and do the same thing again, and then make sure that they're all working together. This is like working with Gus and Yola Nerd,
Yep.
right? They all dance together really well, so I can get a combined package, and that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. Everyone is so specialized in their education now, be it medical or finance or structured like that. Lawyers, they're so specialized that they could. You're almost that liaison or you're that advocate for their whole process.
So before some guy walks on your land in a fancy suit and gives you a check, they need to talk to you first.
I would love the opportunity to at least try to help you know that you maximized what you could earn from the exchange of dollars for dirt. And there are
But I'm
many,
sure this has happened already. You've had ranchers
Yes.
like, hey, some guy showed up on my land and he wants to give me this much money.
Yes.
Kyla, what do I do?
Yeah, so we've been able to negotiate successfully some data center investments. It's really interesting that and this is my opinion, but even the institutional dollars really would like to go in there because of the returns that they see and the massive dollar numbers that they see. However, you can't give them this, expected ROI like you can on our traditional commercial properties for investment. And there's a long lead time, and especially in the land process and the power entitlement, and particularly in Texas when we're in an unknown state and now having to build so much new infrastructure. But it's fun that the capital, again, will determine new solutions to the problems.
Wow. Okay.
And so it's amazing times.
But does it happen more often? Like some big dog investor in a fancy suit walks on my land and wants to give me a big check?
They don't
looks
usually
good.
walk up anymore.
Especially with ranchers here in Texas.
They've got 1,000 telecenters calling you
Yeah.
nonstop.
Or it's by phone or email. I mean, email, you're going to get a letter in the mail even. And people don't know if they're true or not, if they're right or not.
I even had on my door earlier things stuck on there confidential. Someone offering to buy my business, and
Yeah.
it's just the most random.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get 1,000 emails. Not 1,000, but I get probably 20 emails a month. Just people offering to buy a business, and it's like, you don't know if it's a real legitimate thing or not, or
Right.
it's just a scam, or they're just trying to wholesale and just get a quick skim. Or in real estate, same thing. That whole market flipping houses. There's so many wholesalers.
There
that
are.
those margins have gotten cut thin.
There are.
We buy ugly houses.
Right? They still do
They
it.
still do it on a nice house.
They still do
Don't
it.
care.
Cash offer.
Cash
You may
offer.
not like that offer, but we'll give you a cash offer.
We'll give you cash today.
Yeah, exactly.
Speed. It's saving time.
Let's go to the next question. What's happening in Texas lands right now that most people haven't caught on right now?
I think we were just on the data center thing, and that's it's now everywhere. It was in specific areas, kind of started even in the DFW Metroplex area. And then
Do you feel like all of Texas?
I feel like all of Texas has
Really?
the opportunity. We just flew over the Panhandle last week and out in West Texas.
All the way up
and,
there?
And yes, yes. So there's quite a bit in the Panhandle, and some of these rural communities, you also have less people to object, and probably impact less people. And there's a lot of our renewables that are.
So there could be a lot of misrepresentation
There could be.
for a rancher way out in the middle of nowhere. Somebody comes up to him and say, I want to offer you this. They need to be talking to Kyla first.
Right. I had
With the data centers and things I'm seeing is how much water consumption there is. Because cooling, I don't think a lot of people think about cooling and all this type of stuff. I mean, it's really a massive amount of heat and cooling. There's
It is.
impacts ecologically that we're not even seeing yet that are going to be happening. It's
True.
And
There-
especially in their surrounding area, if you're within a certain radius, you're going to have definitely some impact.
Yeah, it's amazing what I've learned on that too. And I think, Brent, there's a lot of education that needs to be done. And again, the dollars and the restrictions are now driving towards new technologies. But the daily consumption numbers that you'll see on, whether it's news articles or just the people that are rebelling against no data centers are, millions of gallons a day, which in my education is not the case. It might be, 1 million gallons to onload, and then maybe a 10% maintenance burn a year. So there's a lot of new technologies that chill actually at the computer, at the chip level, And again, that's on our really highly generating AI platforms that are different than the
They
data
take a lot of
storage
juice.
platforms. So our current state of the world and the AI race to master that, and I mean, where does it end?
I don't think it's
I don't-
going to.
I don't think
I
it's
mean, they're
going
looking
to.
at
I think
doing
we're
data
already
centers
there.
in space, who
Right.
knows? But again, I don't know how much this is feasible or not in the short term. But these are definitely goals there. And the money you're looking at, where's the investment dollars? Where's the opportunity? You know,
Yeah. So there's that's where does the circle end of where all the dollars are. So it's a very interesting time, and I think what will happen is we'll continue to get more efficient. We'll get more efficient in our processes. We'll get more efficient in our computer generating all the pieces that it takes to generate human behavior or
like large language models of
Yeah.
crazy.
yes. And what did I hear that ChatGPT now has an IQ of right at 140, which is genius level on every
I think it's already beating
topic
the
in
master
the world.
chess players, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's above average intelligence in pretty much
Right,
every
and that's
field.
just one, one
Yeah.
major platform, but we have so many of them that are working there. So it'll be very interesting to see where the AI. I mean, it's become a big part of my daily life, too. Right? I don't Google anything anymore. I ask Chat, "Hey, Chatty,
Yeah.
find me this."
Hey, Chatty.
Give me a
Chatty.
detailed breakdown from like a PhD level. There.
My husband laughs because I talk to Chatty going down the highway when I'm thinking about something. 'Cause
Yeah.
I used to drive and Google and search and look up stuff, and now I'm just like, press the button. Hey,
There you
Chatty.
go.
He goes, "Hey, Kyla, how are you today?" I'm like, "I'm great, bud.
Oh, you
How
have
are
the memory, so it knows
Yeah.
what you talked about in
Oh,
your
yeah.
last conversation?
Oh yes, has all my stuff. Okay, and are you asking as this applies to Let's Talk Land and some strategies for whatever? And I'm like, nope. Actually, I'm just wanting to go a new route. What about this? And it is quite amazing that I can learn more about even structures of different trust when I
Just
hear
by
something
talking.
or I read
Just by
something.
talking to an AI.
I'm like, look up these different trusts and contrast and compare them. Now, make me a table so that I can copy and paste and email that to myself and put it in my stuff later. But it's really I'm amazed at how much that's changed my daily life just maybe in the last 6 months, and it really
Which
was
just recently become really practical.
yes
Before it wasn't that practical. You had to go into a terminal and type like some old school
Right.
1990s
You
nerd. Now it's voice interface. It understands what you're
Now
saying.
it's very interactive, simple to use.
Yes.
You take it on a go with you on a phone.
So as a business owner, do you appreciate the value it's bringing as a business owner?
I do.
And
Yeah, I think as a business owner, I mean, it certainly is. It speeds up my learning time and my research time, as long as it's true, right? I don't want to mislearn anything.
Hallucinating and-
but certainly I can be much more efficient with my time to research a topic or to condense the information and make it a presentation form, those kind of things. I do think though that with all of this automation, it just makes our personal relationships and the time we spend together more important.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to want the human touch. We were made to interact. So as
We're
we
tribal.
get more efficient in processes and in tasks and can automate some of those things, my prayer is that it gives us more time to converse and to really serve one another as human to human, and that relationship becomes more valuable because we're not so busy doing all of our task things that we now can have some computers do for us.
For you personally, as a female leader and business owner, where do you feel like you're able to connect more in today's world?
I try to see through a person like inside their what's really inside,
Yeah.
and especially as women, we have a habit of hiding behind a lot of things, and part of that's just the way we're raised too, right? You don't ever tell anybody anything. You put your smile on, you tuck your shirt in, you put your shoulders back, you smile, and you carry yourself, which is great because you overcome a lot of the emotions. But we are emotional, spiritual beings. So there has to be a place that we can be genuine and that we can share those things. And that's life. It's real life. And it's the stuff that's going on in our head that we oftentimes hide behind. So, and it's as women too, especially at my age, I have 2 grown children, and then I have 2 that are freshmen in high school. And so I still work full time for the freshmen in high school because they don't drive yet. And so, I mean, it's all I do is just all their activities, and I don't want to miss a second of it. And then the more we can be with our big kids now is really precious time. But when you transition from, okay, my life is dictated by my children, to now I get to make my own choices. I haven't made my own choices in a long time. And I think we forget that we are all products of what we've been thinking, what we've been saying, what we've been doing. And today we are exactly where we are. We created this mess. We can like it or we can change it. And so especially for women, it's a very important time to be sensitive and real and take some action on what is it that I was created for? Am I doing that? And not be about the world, but truly be empowered by go and serve others.
Wow.
Yeah, I say that more and more. Yeah, I think so many people are really trying to get back into a level of service, be it through either church or through your work, or at least having some meaning, not just chasing dollars for time, but really serving and being. And that, one thing as a guy, I feel like we get guilty of is just being productive.
Yes.
As men, we're like problem solvers and we're productive, and sometimes we get, I don't know. For me, I personally disconnect from that, truly the emotional side of it. Like, all right, let's just be efficient, So I don't know. I think that's great. You're bringing that. That's one thing I like about this podcast. One thing I really like about this is we have to stop, be it an hour, 2 hours, whatever time we have, and sit down and really have a conversation. No interruptions, no cell phone. So this is awesome. I think more people. People think they want to do a podcast, but I don't think they see how much work it is. But like, if you can achieve it, though, I think it really creates interesting moments and conversations. And you talk to people you wouldn't always sit down for a whole hour and talk.
Right.
Yeah.
And you really dig into
And
things.
there's a lot of distractions
It's
all over the world. I mean, just if you sit down and talk, your phone's going off, but at least for the time we spend together, our phones are off. We're having a mutual conversation, and we get to learn from each other.
Absolutely.
That's the best part.
People may not need to do they need to have something like this, though. Not just a podcast, but just to like get your phones out and talk. I do this with my kids. I have a 5 and 6 year old and a 15, so
Awesome.
we do that. Like, especially if we're at dinner, like no phones, get rid of everything, make eye contact. Sit down and do it. But I enforce it. But I feel like I have to constantly enforce it because the
Absolutely.
community is not supporting it like it used to. I grew up on a dirt road in Alabama. You had to make eye contact. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It was enforced by everyone around you.
Yes.
Now I feel like I'm the only person enforcing it. It's not the same community support that you had before. And I
Wow.
think those skills, those soft skills of being able to talk to people and make people feel heard and connect, I think those are more valuable moving forward because of all these AI models and things. I think people being able to connect, I don't know. Those are things I'm working on with my kids is to try to enforce that. And
Well,
It's-
hallelujah. I'm so glad to hear you say that, Brent. And on the days that it's hard and they're throwing a fit and they don't want to put their phones down or whatever, I will just hear me say, no, sir, you just stay strong. They will thank you later.
so you have 2 freshmen in high school?
I do.
Yeah,
Twin
Okay.
girls.
Yeah, we're in the 15.
Yeah.
He's same. He's I think going to sophomore this
Yep.
next year. So yeah,
Yeah,
same.
I got a
same
2-year-old. I got a Texas tornado and a 7-year-old. He's also going to be a tornado.
Yes. They're awesome.
Yeah. 2 more questions.
Okay.
For a founder in your level, what would you say to other female business owners? What are some of your secrets to keep it going, keep it running? Because you're not only a successful businesswoman, but you're a wife, you're a mother, and you run this entire operation. Any tips you can give any other female business owners?
I think it's get up early. There's a lot that we have to do in the quiet while everyone else is sleeping, and whether it's early or late. And it's the Proverbs 31 woman, right? And the biggest thing is to not keep score, and to be a successful wife and mother and love everybody. And I am so productivity driven. It is very difficult for me to slow down and enjoy time with my family as much, and we work together a lot, so I'm very driven by if we're not being productive, like that I have to make myself just stop and sit to on a daily basis. But we can't sacrifice any of it. We really can't. So it's keeping those priorities of if you are going to be successful in business, we can't give up family for business. And men and women, this is everyone has to do this. And it's either your family is in with you and they're 100%. And a lot of times they're the ones cheering for you, right? You've got this. And they're on stage with victory, whatever victory looks like at every point. I grew up in a family that, again, we were kind of feast or famine, either in agriculture or in ranch real estate, because those deals are longer and bigger and they just take a lot of attention. But they don't close every other week. So we laughed. We were like, we had a pot of beans on the stove all the time, and it was beans and rice and beans and rice and beans and tortillas until all of a sudden we knew it was closing day when we had steak. Just so we got a nice dinner to celebrate with
That's my
that.
biggest challenge as a business owner is balancing being a husband, also being a father, being there for your kids. That is the biggest challenge I'm facing right now. Although it's been an absolute blessing that the Lord's given me so much for YOLO Nerd and the business and the way it's growing, but it's trying to find that balance. And that has been my biggest prayer meditation that I do to the Lord, is to just help me with this so that way I can be better at this. You know?
The one thing that I've done, I had this, somebody told me this a long time ago, and it's one of those things that just really stuck, was the people that are going to be on the front rows at your funeral should be the priority on your calendar. And so if you can actually schedule your family, and if dinner is important to you and your family, you're having dinner with your number one client.
Amen.
There is no client more important.
Amen.
The other ones are going to come
that.
and go, and we sacrifice stuff, and we may not be at every game and at every practice and at everything, but whatever's really important, that is scheduled with your number one client, and you don't change on your family just like you wouldn't change on the one that's paying you the most, right? And so that was, I think if you just, that mindset of who's going to be on the front row of your funeral should be at the top of your calendar, and have priorities there and schedule them first.
Yeah.
And everything else around it. And don't be, so quick to wave off what you need to wave off to respond to outside clients. So
Let's take that one more step. Right
Yes.
now, I mean, we see divorce. So many people aren't getting in relationships. People aren't married. People aren't having kids. What advice do you give for younger people that are entrepreneurial, but they still want to pursue having a family? Especially right now, the younger generations, we just don't see people connecting as much on that level. I mean, the numbers are.
I think they want connection. They just don't know how.
Yeah, but they're not being able to achieve it. Do you have any advice for women or for guys, either way, that are wanting to connect and still pursue that entrepreneurship?
number one, commit to what you want to be. And it's not the way you were raised. When you're a young adult, you're a young adult now. And you can be raised and create the next generation however you want to. We're fortunate that our kids are going to pick up on the way they were raised, and they should be raised to be leaders, which is kind of our joke about why we had another round of kids. It was like, well, somebody has to raise more leaders, right? And that's the way we talk in our household. Is it's not just about showing up and being a part of something. It's how can you serve and how can you lead, and come in with the best attitude and a work ethic and everything else. So I really think it is, if they want to have a family, then commit to having a family and how you're going to raise that family and what kind of principles you are. Texas's school systems are not in good shape right now. They're not. The public school system, we're like 38th in the country. And today, to advance to the next class is really measured on standardized tests and minutes in the classroom.
That's usually the biggest argument I have with parent-teacher conferences. He's here, but he needs to be here. I'm like, he's 7.
Yeah.
How's his communication skills? Why? He could be in a gifted program. What for?
Yeah. It's still our job. So I'm all about whatever you're in, just go all in and commit and do that. But absolutely, we need young people that want to have a family. We need them to have families. We need the next generation, and we need them to be talked to and with, and the right kind of values and principles. And they need to know the Lord. They need to, be raised in a Christian home, and be servant leaders. So that it's a pretty strong maybe statement there, but you asked me how I felt, so that's how I
There
feel.
you go. Hey, it's real here in the Founders Lounge. Last question.
Okay.
For Let's Talk Land, for any rancher like my stubborn old grandpa, what role do you play as providing the network you need to get these deals done?
I really provide the frontline communication and then being that single touch point that can listen to the client, and then I'll go suit up the team. And we'll put together what you need now, what you might need in the future. We'll try to take the complex issues and make them applicable to what it is the client wants to achieve.
You know why I liked you? I was looking forward to this. Well, I like you too, but well, I was looking so forward into this meeting is because you are a rancher. You come from many generations of ranching, so you live and breathe it. So you know what a rancher's thinking and how they operate. So you're not just anybody. So this is the real deal. So if you're a rancher and you're watching this video, hopefully you are, Kyla Dodson is the way to go. Let's go.
Thanks, Alex.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank
Brent.
you so
Thank
much.
you so much for coming out.
Oh, we're going to do
It's
one
my
of these?
pleasure.
Let's go.
Let's
3,
do a big
2,
clap.
1. Boom. Is that fun?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for coming out. That was amazing.
Hope you got something.